I went to preach in South Africa recently, and I'm not spiting anybody. It's not a physical mark anyway. A man stood with his wife. When I saw them, I admired them. When they brought them to greet me, they said he's a movie star. I said, Kai, no wonder. If you see the elegance, the heart posture. When Samuel came into the house of Jesse, he made a statement. Jesse brought Eliab, his first son. The guy had stature. You know, there are people that look like kings. When you see them, you say, my God. I went to preach in South Africa recently, and I'm not spiting anybody. It's not a physical mark anyway. A man stood with his wife. When I saw them, I admired them. When they brought them to greet me, they said he's a movie star. I said, Kai, no wonder. If you see the elegance. See, there are people that when they come around you, they coordinate. Even the prophet saw some. When he saw Eliab, he said, surely a prophet whose power is precision and discernment. When he saw Eliab, he said, surely, without doubt, this is the Lord's anointed. And God said, I've refused him. I don't see how men see. He said, men look on the outward. He said, but I, the Lord, I check the heart of man. What makes men rise in this kingdom is the quality of their heart. If your heart is wrong, sir, you are not a candidate for lifting. 1 Samuel 16 verse 6. He looked at a man of stature, built for glory, but the heart was wrong. Hope you know that God didn't say, I have not chosen him. God said, I have refused him. Probably he was the one God wanted, but something went wrong with his heart. Somewhere along the line, I'm better than everybody. What I carry, nobody is like me. And then he sank. Look at the Bible. Let's project the scripture. 1 Samuel 16. Read it. Samuel came with the horn of oil. He was almost going to anoint Eliab, but God said, I have refused him. That means he was part of those chosen, but he was refused. I didn't reject him, but I've refused him. And God told us why he was refused. I don't look at the outward, I look at the heart. And it came to pass when they were come that he looked on Eliab and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. And hear God's reply. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, look not on his height, the height of his stature. Don't look at that, because I have refused him. Countenance correct, stature correct, heart wrong. Heart was more important than countenance. You see, some people, they have all the physical glory, but their heart is evil. I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man look on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart. So if this guy's heart was right, probably Jesus would have been the king in the order of Eliab. But unfortunately, the heart was wrong. See, one of the prayers you must learn to pray is, God, help my heart. He said, I, the Lord, I search the heart. Jeremiah 17 verse 10. I search the reins to give to every man as his way should be. God does not give to men based on their appearance. He gives to men based on their heart. I, the Lord, I search the heart. That's Jeremiah 17, 10 or 11. Bring out the scripture. If your heart is wrong, you can't be lifted. I've seen people who fasted and fasted and fasted, and the more they fast, they sank. I've seen people who prayed and prayed, but they sank the more they prayed, because something was wrong with the heart. And I will show you some of the critical things wrong with the heart. Psalm 24, you read from verse 3. You will see what is wrong with the heart of many people. It said, who shall ascend into the hill of the Lord? Who shall stand in his holy place? Who are the men God lives in his realm? Look at them. He that had a clean heart, clean hands. See, there are people that they are not sincere. They are not sincere. They come with too much baggages. You'll find him smiling with you. Inside, he wants you destroyed. And then when they are talking about somebody, he drops one comment like that looks harmless, but that comment has discredited that person. This is what they are masters in doing it. They just sit where they decide the fate of people, and they keep sowing seeds of discord, negative comment. And when they see you, they will hug you, call you their brother, call you their sister. But they were the ones that discredited you. Not because they had cogent reasons to, but there is something in them that will not allow them release somebody else to become. Hands are not right. Number 2, who is this person? He that has a pure heart. When you find a man that his intention is always right, that's a man that will be lifted. Not that you are talking with your mouth and your heart is different. There are many, especially in this world today, motive is an issue. You see somebody call you by 12 midnight and say, I'm on the mountain praying for you. He wants to call you in 2 weeks time and say, please help me. You don't know. I'm on the mountain now and I'm praying for you. 2 weeks later, I call you and say, Kai, my brother, I need some money. So he is programming you 2 weeks ahead. So he was not praying. And even if he was praying, that was not sincere. It's to program you. Motive is wrong. You see somebody talking about the power of sacrifice. It's a lie. He's not teaching you sacrifice for your own good. At the end of the meeting, he wants to take something out of you. But he needs to disarm you. So there's nothing wrong with the message, but the motive is wrong. The heart is not right. Number 3, he said, they have not lifted up their souls in vanity, pride. There's nothing wrong in being the head. But when you think you are the only head, and when you think your own head is better than every other head, you have a problem. You'll find some people, they never see anything good in somebody else. No matter what you do, they have a fault. And every time they give the right example, they are the posture. Pride. These are the people God resists.
Join our community, subscribe, and let's explore the apostolic legacy together. The Apostolic TV, where faith flourishes. Subscribe now and be a part of it.